are we on?
I hope so.
Can you hear us, guys? If you can hear us, then let us know. But hopefully we are all good. Well, hopefully you can hear us. Please let us know if you can. Let's just see. Can you hear us? Error. Try again. Why am I getting error? That can come off because that's completely gone. Can you hear us, guys? Oh, we hear you. Oh, thank you very much, guys, and I really appreciate you sticking around, waiting around, and apologise for the technical difficulties out on our side. It's, God, modern technology at its worst. I do apologise. Obviously, we are now currently 12 minutes into the race. Tom, do you just want to say a few words to make sure our wonderful viewers can hear you?
Test.
You could have actually said something else rather than that, mate.
No, I like to say test. You know, it keeps it official that way. So.
Oh, wow, okay. Hopefully you can hear Tom as well. But let's give you a quick rundown of the current grid. So currently leading the way, Thomas Wangham from pole position, still maintained that place. Daniel essentially is currently in P2. You can just see him on screen there. Has overtaken Niels Erik Isaacson for that second place in the pro field. In fourth overall, we got Scott Mokes. In fifth, Ketil Larsen. In sixth, we got Lance Sorensen. In seventh, we got Michael Hooper. And Matt Genstrombakken is currently in P8th. And it looks like we have had an incident with Arias Mantis, who's currently down in P19th at the moment, P9th in class. Currently leading out the Pro Anfield is Kim-Andre Borkland from pole position, who set off there. James Logsdon in second place at the moment. Overall, as we watch Kim there having a massive accident coming up turn number 5, and we obviously missed all the track guides at the start, but that is an absolute place where that can easily happen. Turn number 5, very treacherous corner on the track. In the AMS, we got Tom Savage currently heading out in P1. Champon Asavan in Dane Racing is currently in second place, so he's moved up the positions there in P18th, but second place overall in the AM. Kim-Andre Borkland now with that incident we just watched, literally going down the field. You can see him at the back there, just trying to get that car back to the pits. Jimmy Varg is currently in P3 in the AM. Stefan Anderson P4. Gordon Haig in P5. Patrick Wild in P6. Sammy Hendricks is in P7th. Paul Ward in P8th. Atto Rudd, who's a new driver from Team Vikings, in P9th overall. Simeon Moldeclev P10th, and Michael Cody heading out the Anfield in P11. In the rookie class, we got Alan Sandergaard, our pole sitter at the start, still maintaining that position in the rookie field. Sam Curran in second place, Nicholas Gronstrom in third, and Ian Hennebury in fourth, with Stefan Fonsi in fifth, Paul Joseph Klist in sixth, and Torborn Mali in seventh. So there's a quick rundown of the grid, but yeah, all a bit behind the curve, I'm feeling a bit at the moment, Tom.
It wasn't the best start there, so we do really apologise for that, guys. You know, the joys of modern technology, and for us to bring you this kind of racing, it's sometimes not going to go our way. So, but yeah, back to Road Atlanta. You know, as we were trying to say in the beginning, it's one of those tracks. There's not a lot of room. It's tight, twisty. It was originally built on a farmer's field. That's one little bit of history for you there. But But it's going to be an interesting race, this one. You know, the guys have got a lot of close quarters battling, and the traffic, that's going to be another thing that could definitely come into play. So it's not an incredibly long lap round here. You know, you're only looking at sort of your 1 minute plus, your 1:17 being the fastest, I believe, or 1:17.3 was the fastest in qualifying. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the traffic when Thomas Wangen and Mr. Sedgley make their way around. So you know, Daniel had a fantastic run out of Glen last week. So you know, he's holding the heels of Thomas Wangen now. So I imagine Thomas put in a severe amount of practice in order to keep the Olympus Sports driver at bay. But at the moment, Daniel said he's doing a fantastic job, and he's definitely in that slipstream. But you know, in that IGL coating sandwich, anything can happen.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're looking at the IGL Coatings team there, and you may have noticed, you think, have they changed cars? Yes, they have. They have decided to drop the Audi and go across to the BMW. There's quite a few of the drivers that have changed cars to the BMW, so it seems to be very much the car of choice. Obviously, these are open setups, so maybe it's a little bit easier, or they've been able to manage to get setups for the BMW done. But quite a few of the drivers have actually moved across from the Audi, the McLaren, to the BMW. So certainly have a BMW. And if we have a look at the grid, we can sort of see the split of cars. We still have one McLaren driver, Gordon Haig, there in P21. So still got some Macca representation out on track, and there is the wonderful Macca. But you can sort of see now the split is probably heavily more towards the BMW now than any other, but it's still, we still have pretty much every make out on track, apart from the obvious Ford that we didn't get anybody to coax anybody into the Ford this season. But interesting track, and it's like you mentioned, the elevation changes on this track. You can see here a perfect illustration coming down through the S's as we watch on board with Gordon Haig now coming up behind Jimmy Vark for P4 overall in the AM class. It's really an undulating track. You can sort of see even on the straights it's up and down out on track. And then you mentioned this turn number 6, but turn 7 is probably the most treacherous corner. It's like an off-camber 110 degree turn, so if you really get it wrong, you can go out wide on that corner, as you see all the cars in the background there literally using all of the curb as we watch Gordon Haig now making a passing move here on Jimmy Vark for P4 overall. Jimmy's still going to have the inside line coming down into turn number 10A, the fast point, but it looks like the power of that Macca with Gordon has managed to get the move done before going down into turn A and B. Another treacherous set of corners out turn A and B. I don't know why they called it A and B and not 11 and 12, but that's just the way they've done it. That's a tricky corner as well. It's probably the most obvious point to make an overtaking move coming down after the very long straight from turn number 7 to get the real good slipstream. But you can easily overcook it on that corner, can't you, Tom?
Certainly can. I was just looking in the YouTube chat, and the guys are saying that I am echoing. So I'm sounding like I'm underwater at the moment. So not sure if that's something you can take a look at, but I will let you fly solo until we get it sorted.
Okay then. Okay. Well, Tom is down in the deep dark in Wales at the moment, so he's obviously doing it on his laptop, so I'm not sure what it was there. I don't know if you've got some sound on in the background there, Tom, which is feedbacking into your mic. I'm not sure. But I will keep you entertained as best I can for the race until we try to get that sorted out. But looking back at the front, we got Thomas Wangen. Himself and Dan Sedgley, after that first round, which was very quiet in Montreal, was Dan. I think he got 4th or 5th overall. Since Watkins Glen, he's really found his mojo, winning quite comfortably in the Glen over Thomas Wangen. And again here at Road Atlanta, he's really putting Thomas under a lot of pressure to get that first place again. So he's really turned a corner at the moment as the Olympus Esports Redstone team driver there, sandwiched in the IGL Coating Iracing by Traffic Skull. is the IGL team's name. But we have Thomas Wangen, followed closely by Dan Sedgley. Niels Isaacson's doing a lot better this round in that BMW. We've seen him in previous rounds do really well in the qualifying standards, but then get pushed back down the field as the race progressed. But at the moment, he's keeping pace with both Thomas Wangen and Daniel Sedgley there up the front end, pulling off a little bit of a gap to Scott Mokes, who's currently in 4th place, only 1.1 second off the back end of the group that we're currently watching on track. Let's have a look further down the field. So it looks like Lee King McGee, obviously with that incident that we saw with Kim Andre Borkland, has taken the mantle in that Pro-Am field. Currently has a 2.9 second lead over James Logston in 2nd place there. So I wonder if there was an incident between James and Kim Andre Borkland, which is why James Logston is not leading the Pro-Am field and has lost a little bit of time. I'll try and see if I can get a replay of possibly what happened. Let's have a look back at some of the incidents. Can't seem to find it at the moment, but we will endeavour to see what we can do. But I can bring you a crash here from Mads. So let's have a look at what happened to Mads. So coming around turn number 1 here. Does he just get it wrong and slides out? No, it's very slow. Tricky over the hill. It's very much a blind corner, this turn number 2 and 3. Yeah, it gets it completely wrong at the top. Starts losing it. Such an easy mistake to do here at Road Atlanta. And Mads pretty much getting caught out at the top as we rejoin the action live. So Lee King McGee currently leading out the Pro-Am field, 2.7 seconds ahead of James Logston. You can just see James there in the background. Steve Pearce is currently in 3rd place in the Audi, followed closely by Sander, who has also changed from the Macca into the BMW. So a lot of the drivers, like I said before, are moving back into the BMW out of the various cars. I think it's mainly the Audi and the Macca that people have gone to be able to go into the BMW, but they do get a free car change up to this round, so pretty much what car they're in now, they will have to stick with it, otherwise they will get a penalty out on track. So Sander there currently in P4th. Looking further back then to the AMs, Tom Savage currently leading out the AM class in the Mercedes. So the Mercedes having a good outing here. Tom driving that really well. He's having a really strong championship. We saw him in the championship standings, currently leading the way in that AM field. Very consistent driver, and obviously likes the way that Mercedes drives. I think he is the only Mercedes drivers on the field at the moment. We did have Russ Fowler, who was in the Mercedes, but he has moved across to the Audi. So a lot of the guys really trying to figure out, because these are not fixed setups in this class anymore, it's an open setup, but the drivers and we're not really following any official series. We're just choosing probably the best tracks that we would like to be able to do a world tour. There's probably not easy setups for the guys to be able to try and basically catch out or catch them, but yeah, it's certainly interesting on that front. So Tom Savage currently leading out the way in the AMs. In 2nd place we got Shampon Asavon of Dane Iracing there in 2nd race, having a great race. He's not had the best of opening rounds as Shampon, but he's doing well here at Road Atlanta. Currently 24 minutes into this hour and 10 minute race. You can see there just behind the Lamborghini there of Arias Humantas, currently down in 16th, P9th in class. So clearly had an incident early on, which has put him midway in the field and quite a way off the back end of the pro class. Looking further back then to the rookie class, we got Alan Sandergaard having a great race there in the Audi. So we pretty much got... So we got a BMW on Pro, BMW on Pro-Am. Then we've got Mercedes on AM and an Audi. No, it's a BMW. He's in a BMW. My bad. I thought it was the Audi driver behind them. That actually is, I think, is that Michael Cody? think that is Michael Cody there. No, it's Sam Curran behind in P27. So Alan's doing a great job here at Road Atlanta to try and get that position done. Ian Henbury, who was our winner out in Watkins, is currently in 4th in the rookie class overall. Not having the best of day here. He's up 11 places from where he started, but there are a lot of people that have fallen away. We've got Stefan Albanese, Casper Tungstad, Mad Sayer, Matt Loveridge, and Jonathan Weiner in, who have probably a lap down now from there, and have all been in the pits with incidents throughout the race. So it's going to be certainly interesting into the second half of the race of who can take it. And I suppose it's a good thing. The pros seem to be it's either Thomas Wangen or Daniel Sedgley at the moment, but pretty much every other class we've had the opening 2 rounds of the season, we've had a different winner on each race. So it's certainly an open field, and that Pro-Am field is certainly heating up. James Logsdon, as we saw with the points at the start, obviously without the sound, he is currently leading the way on 30 points. So again, having another consistent round here. But like I said, the drivers do also have 2 drop round scores to be applied. That will be applied after this round, so you may see the scores going right back down to like 15 points on the next race, but that will be including their 2 drop scores. So then from then on outwards, it's a true representation of where we're at. Just seeing if I can help you out, Tom. Let's have a look, see if I can figure something out why it is echoing. Did you have anything open there, Tom? Do you want to try again, mate, and see if you sound like you're underwater? I guess not. I guess he's having a Welsh cake and a cup of tea. Is our Tom there down in Wales, so not at his computer at the moment, so it's going to be me, I'm afraid, for looks like probably the whole of this race. So back at the front, we now have the leaders getting onto the back end of some of the drivers, so this could be interesting how this comes to effect. They seem to be hitting them at probably the best place coming down after turn number 7, so I have the long straight to try and get past these back markers there. I think that's Paul Joseph Cliss they're overtaking at the moment, but you can see them all getting past Paul at them. But Paul is looking at not easing off a little bit, but I'm sure he will by the time he comes to turn 10A. So you can see him there in the background, just easing off, letting the pro drivers through. So the top 3 managed to get past Paul, coming up to make another round. But this is going to be another interesting one. Let's have a look at the map to see where the front runners are. You can see them there coming over the start-finish line. They do have a couple of stragglers coming up, a couple of the Pro-Am drivers and Am drivers in front of them, back into 31st position, a little bit of a gap, and then there's a big hole of the field. But that's what Tom was saying at the start. This track is quite short, so therefore, you know, a lot of the back markers are going to be caught by the front runners, and they'll probably catch about half of the field at the rate they're currently going at the moment. Only 29 minutes into this race, so we still have 40 minutes to go, and I'm pretty much sure there might be a little bit more action with back markers involved. Certainly may pay the outcome of this race, but you can see there the top 4 are literally just glued together at the moment in one big train out on track. So it's going to be an interesting race. Kjetil Larsen there's only 1.2 seconds off the back of this leading quartet here, with Lance Sorensen about 8.1 seconds off Kjetil Larsen. So Kjetil does have an opportunity to try and get onto the back end of this 4-car leading group at the moment. But let's look further back down the field. We do have Tom Savage there trying to look at making a pass on one of the Am drivers in Pro-Am drivers in front. So Tom doing an exceptional job, and certainly mixing it up with the Pro-Am drivers. You can see just behind him You got Champapon at Asavon in Dane Racing in P15. Only 2 seconds behind Tom at the moment on track, but it's going to be good. But let's have a look. We didn't manage to give you a track guide at the start, so let's have a look at a lap from Tom here. Turn 1 is quite a treacherous one. You've really got to be nice and easy on that throttle, otherwise you get spit out to the left. As I say, coming up to turn number 2 and 3, very much blind corners, so you've really got to know where your turning points are into this track. Leading on them curbs, but you don't want to be leaning too much. A treacherous turn number 5. You got to try. Oh, as we see an incident there with an Audi in front. Who was that? That was Russ Fowler getting spit off coming up to turn number 5. But turn 5 can be extremely treacherous if you try and give it too much. Then coming around turn number 6, nice 90-degree, and then that turn number 7 with the like off camber corner, literally lose all track, and you can see there at the front Sander getting it completely wrong, taking too much of that grass on the exit, which has given Thomas the ideal opportunity to make that pass and move coming down turn number 9 and down into turn number 10A. Another treacherous little bit of track coming up. Certainly an opportunist overtaking mode, but again, you know, you'll be taking a lot of curb coming into these two, but you don't want to be taking too much, because if you hit too much of that grass, it will turn the car around. But that is a lap around Road Atlanta. Sorry it's a little bit late, but with our technical difficulties at the start, and still technical difficulties, it's not been probably the best broadcast that we've managed to do, but we do try here at Performance Link to give you what you can, and even if it is just my dulcet tones to bring home the race, then that's what we've got to go with, I suppose. But that is Tom there currently leading out the AM. So looking further back, Alan Sandergaard is doing a cracking job as well, currently still leading out that rookie field to the tune of around about 4.5 seconds to Sam Curran in second place. So this would be our third race winner in that rookie class in the 3 opening rounds that we have had here today. So it's good to see that we do have more than 3 cars, because last season I think it ended up just being a 3-horse race in that rookie field. We currently have how many drivers? We got 8 rookie drivers out on track at the moment, so it's a good showing from that class. We always wanted to give that class another go, because I feel that a lot of the drivers, there is that market there for that rookie class, because that AM class can be from anywhere from, normally in a normal league, from anywhere from 2,000 all the way down to 900. So giving the extra rookie class gives some of the lower rating drivers a good opportunity to win some prizes here. But Alan's doing a great job there leading out that rookie class. Just having a look for some decent battles. We've got Lars Sorensen and Michael Hooper here. Lars Sorensen, the IGL coated Iracing by Sunday Traffic Skull in 7th place, just onto the back of Michael Hooper. He does have there Mats Grenströmbacken, who did have a qualifying ban for 3 penalty points, so did start towards the back end of the pro field. But it looks like these 3 drivers are having a battle. It'd be good to see Michael having a good day here. He's not had the great opening first 2 rounds as Michael Hooper. He was very much our Pro-Am winner from season 1 and has been moved up to the pro class. He was very much mixing it with the pro class when he was in that Pro-Am field, so should be used to all the action that comes with mixing it with the pro class. But like this season, he now is within that class, and at the moment towards the tail end of it, P6 out of 9 overall, so mid-pack, should we say, is Michael at the moment. So it's going to be an interesting day, but at the moment, leading up this trio of cars between himself, Sorensen, and Grenströmbacken in P8th overall in class. So these 3 having a great battle. Scott Mokes just looks like he's falling away a little bit from the top 3, still within a 1-second gap, so has the opportunity to close up that gap coming down here into turn number 10A. But is sort of slightly losing place in that Porsche over the 3 BMWs that are in front of him at the moment. It may be having something to do with the back markers on there, but it's certainly interesting what is going to happen here. And it's going to be interesting when we get into the round of pit stops. We've always seen this here as we watch a back marker pushing Scott out slightly wide, coming around turn number 1. The back marker did probably the right thing, tried to hug that inside line, but that pushed Scott out a little bit, and as you can see there, the timing has now gone to above a second gap between the top 3. Niels Iracing is starting to lose the tailcoat really of the top 2 as well. So we can just have a look there. So Niels-Erik Iracing losing the top 2 slightly, still within a 0.7 of a second. It looks like Thomas Wanger's real put the hammer down here. He was 0.3 of a second faster on that last lap. You can see there they were like literally nose to tail, the 4 cars. Now they're sort of getting a little bit spread out, so it's probably got something to do as well with the back markers coming into play. You can see a lot of them, a lot of traffic coming up on where the cars are. Should be a little bit of a gap once they pass these next couple of cars. You can see there all the way down to P25, who's just gone round the first corner, so should get a little bit of a breather to maybe close them gaps up when we come to it. Let's have a look further back. We've got Sander Island under a little bit of pressure here again from another AM driver, the Shamlam Asavon in second place in that AM field is starting to put Sander under a little bit of pressure. Had a great first round, managed to get a podium out in Montreal, but is certainly not finding this track to his liking. I mean, it's going to be different for the tracks that you go out there. Is you know, we've had Montreal, which is a very much a fast sweeping sort of course with nice big straights. Then you've got Watkins, which is slightly more technical, and then we've upped it a notch as well through Road Atlanta. Again, you've really got to be on point and knowing where you can actually cut these corners to maximize the speed and without getting them off tracks as well. So it's going to be interesting. But the next round out, we do go back to one of the long tracks, Road America, and it's our very first format B race, so our 2-hour race that we're going to be bringing you guys, and hopefully we'll get all the little gremlins that we've had. In fact, I think that's our second one. Our podcast, we had a little bit of gremlins on that one as well. So currently at the moment, need to get that sorted, so I'll have a quiet word with myself in the corner. But thanks to all you guys for obviously looking and sticking with us on the YouTube channel. So a big shout out to D Mokes, who's always here, Purple Owl, Eric Logston as well. I'm assuming you're James Logston's family member out on track, so James is doing exceptionally well. So let's see where James is at the moment. He's still in P2 in the Pro-Am field, currently 10 seconds behind Lee King McGee, so might have had a slight incident as well, has James, so struggling a little bit, but back markers again will be coming into it. So if you know the racing, that P1 normally, if you've got P1 behind you, you get out of the way. I think it's just natural instinct to get out of the way. If you're further down the field, you've literally got to try and flash your lights to let the driver know that you're coming to overtake him, because it seems like a mental block on the driver in front to make that passing opportunity as easy as possible for you, but not as easy as if they see first place coming up behind. But James there slightly in no man's land at the moment, 11.1 seconds behind Lee King McGee, who's first place in that Pro-Am field, but around 6 seconds ahead of Sander, who is in that third place overall in that Pro-Am field. So yeah, a little bit in no man's land at the moment, so probably hoping to close down that gap to be able to have a little bit of entertainment. Otherwise it's going to be a very long race going into the final flag here. But that's James Logston there, currently in P2. The field's pretty much spread out. We'll have a look at Nicholas Gronstrom, who's currently P2 in that rookie field. So just looking at that rookie field now, Sam Curran has taken over the lead. So where has our leader gone? Alan Sandergaard. Oh, he looks like he has gone into the pit. So he has had his pit stop for the race. That's why Alan Sandergaard is no longer the lead in this race. He's currently in P5 overall in that rookie class. P32 out on track. We currently have 43 cars out on track in this race. That's why it's probably quite manic for the drivers, being such a short track and having 43 GT3 cars getting on. They've done rather well to not be tripping all over each other. Let's have a look, see if I can find some incidences. So here we have one from Stefan Albanese. He's had a crash here, so let's have a look what happened to him. So I think that's coming down into turn number 7, I believe. Well, just losing the back end of that. Is that a start-finish straight? Literally just lost the back end of that Audi. I think that's probably why a lot of people have moved away from the Audi, is that rear end can be super twitchy out on track, and certainly lost it there. Let's have another look down the field. Let's see if we've got any other good races. We've got Sam Curran, Team Bear Pope, that currently leading out the AM class, is having a little bit of a battle with one of his competitors, Nicholas Gronstrom, there in second place. We saw him in the first race in Montreal, winning for a long portion of that race, and then had a slight incident that put himself down. So we know that he's no slouch out on track. So we do have a little bit of a battle with the AM drivers, with Sam Curran and Nicholas Gronstrom there in 17th and 18th, but first and second in the rookie class. They are ahead of quite a few of the Pro-Am drivers. Alexander Scarrett at the moment not having the greatest of day. I don't believe he really did enjoy this track at all, and finding himself down currently in P4 in the Pro-Am field. It looks like he has had his pit stop as well, 14.67. There's a bit of a difference in the pit stops. It's a lot of drivers going around about the 26.9, which sort of indicates that they will be changing the tyres. And we've got Alexander Scarrett on a 14.67, so certainly you could probably say from that he hasn't taken any of his tyres. We've got Nicholas Gronstrom currently in the pit lane. Let's see if Nicholas takes tyres in his stop. So he was running second in the AM. Yes, indeed, he is taking tyres. So it's always that gamble to be able to take. If you go mid-race, so you've probably got round about another 30 minutes of racing, it's probably worthwhile looking at your fuel to try and take the tyres within the confines of when the fuel is. As you see there, literally, car came down off the ramps and he was away. So took his fuel and his tyres out there. So he is currently, he did a 23.13 second pit stop. So a bit of a varied from 14.6 seconds all the way up to 26.2 in that pit lane. So a lot of the guys deciding to take different tactics out there in the pit stop strategy. Now, it's one of them tracks that I think that probably does warrant changing the tyres, because the wear on the tyres around this track is probably a lot higher than Montreal and maybe even Watkins, because of the undulating aspects of the track. The fast corners certainly coming down through them S's in turns 2, 3, 4, coming up to turn number 5. Then you got the hard braking area coming down into turn number 10A. It's certainly going to put a lot of strain on the tyres, and if you're locking them up, then that is going to wear the tyres out a lot more. But Nicholas Gronstrom currently out in P4 in class, so only himself and Alan Sandergaard has made that pit stop at the moment. Sam Curran leading out the rookies, with Paul Joseph Clist is now in second place, but still owes us that pit stop. So the top 18 drivers at the moment still all owing us a pit stop here. They normally probably find them coming in just before the hour mark for a little splash and dash. here. Some of the drivers did take tyres in Montreal, but then realised that probably didn't need to take any tyres, and the second race was a lot different with a lot more drivers just doing a little bit of a splash and dash at the end. But you can still see Daniel Sedgley there in second place, only 0.9 of a second behind Thomas. Near Isaacson still closing down Daniel and still managing to keep pace in third place, but it looks like Scott Mokes at the moment has just got off the back of that group. He's got Ketil Larson behind him for a little bit of company, but has lost that front three group in front of him to the tune of 3.7 seconds. So we've got, let's have a look at that. Do you know if Simeon's had an accident? Seems to have good pace, but a bit back in AM class after a good qualification. So let's have a look. Where is Simeon? Yeah, that is right. We did see him up there earlier on. I'll try and look back to see if I can find any incidents that maybe happened to Simeon to look further down. Currently P3 in class, so he still is on that podium. Hasn't pitted yet, neither of the front two in front of him, so still running quite well. He's in third in class at the moment, 5.9 seconds behind Gordon Haig, who is then around about 15 seconds behind Tom Savage, who's currently leading that AM class. So still has an opportunity here and still looking at a podium place. He is currently 6.5 seconds ahead of Patrick Wilt in 14th place, currently P4 in the AM class. I don't know if I'm confusing a lot with the going backwards and forwards of the classes. So the way that the timing's out on the left hand side, the pros are in red, the pro-ams are in green, the ams are in blue, and the rookies are in whites. So the way that we're scoring this championship is by class, not overall position. So it's where you finish within your class is the amount of points that you will score. So even as you can see there, Tom Savage is in P10, but Simeon is in P12 at the moment. But the point difference is only between first and second within that class. It's trying to promote good racing within the classes, to realise that you don't have to defend super hard if another class is behind you, to try to have this inter-class battling out on side. So we're trying to make it nice and easy, and also it makes for some great racing towards the tail end of the season as well. Like last season, I think about 3 of the championships were still to be decided on the last race, so the points gap is going to be super close throughout the season as we go along. But we can see there now that Simeon has moved up into second place. Obviously the second place guy there went into the pits, so Simeon still owes us a pit stop. So it's very hard to see where all the cars are going to lie, because you do have cars that try to pit slightly a little bit earlier to enable them to leapfrog the cars later on. But I think it's all down to how the look of the draw is when you come out of the pits. If you are able to get that free air and that free space to be able to put in the decent lap times, or if you're going to be put up against the traffic. But it's going to be interesting to see where a lot of these drivers will end up, who's going to win, either the late stoppers or the early stoppers. So we'll try and have a look at that after all the people have stopped out on track. Scott Mokes currently has come in for his pit stop, is in P7th overall, P6 in class, but has made that pit stop. 14.67 for Scott, so another one of the drivers that probably has not taken any tyres and just a little bit of fuel. I think he just needed to do something a little bit different to mix it up, to be able to try and close down that 3.7 second gap that he had lost to himself and Neil Isaacson in third place. So just trying something a little bit different here is Scott Mokes to try and close down that gap out front. And we can sort of see there what has happened at the front, because it looks like Daniel Sedgley now is in a battle with Neil Isaacson. And that is, Daniel's gone into the pits. I wonder if he's got any damage on his car. Did he have a slight incident where he came off the track? Let's have a look to see if I can see if he did. Can't see him coming off No, I think he's just maybe lost a little bit of space. It's going to be interesting to see. Does he take any tyres? Yes, he does. So Daniel is taking tyres here in his pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see what time he will come out at. Currently at 12 seconds already coming out. Getting his fuel. 13.7 seconds. So slightly under Scott Moak. So we'll see where Scott is out on track. Coming down the start-finish line. It's going to be close between himself and his teammate, or on the same team, should I say, Olympus Esports, if it's going to get out in front. But he does indeed get behind, but he has closed down that gap between himself and Daniel. Stuck behind this Porsche at the moment is Scott. Who is that? It's 297. I think that might be Jimmy Vark, actually, who's trying to get, as you can see, Scott there furiously flashing his back. That is Sammy Hendricks, actually. My apologies to Jimmy. That is Sammy Hendricks that's just slightly holding up Scott here a little bit, and you can see the timing now, and that's probably the criticality and the speed difference between one of the pro drivers and one of the AM drivers out on track is that Scott has all of a sudden lost around about 3 seconds to Daniel Sedgley in front, where he was only around 2 seconds. So it's really getting held up at the moment. Let's have a look back at the front. Thomas Wangen has his teammate just behind him, 2.3 seconds, but Thomas is doing, but has got two of his other teammates just in front of him, and one of them has had a slight issue. You can just see him there going off the grass and literally parting the seas and letting Thomas through to try not to impede him in any way at all. But you can see there on track now, 4 IGL Coatings car all together. Only 2 of them are on the lead lap. 2 of them have obviously just been lapped as well. So very much different fortunes between that IGL Coatings team at the moment. You do have, so the top 2 are IGL Coatings E-Racing by Sunday Traffic Skull, and then in 3rd place you got Ketiel Larsens of IGL Coating E-Racing by Kenzo, and the 2 that we just watched that Thomas did pass was Matt Genstrombacken and Lance Sorensen on that team as well. So it's a full pack team, is that Norwegian IGL Coatings, and at the moment they are holding the top 3 positions. Michael Hooper has moved up to 4th place overall in the pro field. Does owe us a pit stop, so I'd imagine that he will be behind Daniel and Scott. You can see there he's not that far, around about 16 seconds behind is Daniel to Michael. But Lee King McGee at the moment is doing an absolute cracking job, currently up in P5th, top of the pile in the pro Anfield. Still owes us a pit stop at the moment, but 2nd place in that pro field also owes us a pit stop. So having a great time. Just looking at his lap times are like a 180.91, and the top of the pile in the pros, the best lap is a 118.4. So Lee certainly on pace with the pro drivers out in front of him. So doing a cracking job is Lee King McGee here on AKM Racing UK. So I see there's a lot of support for him in the channel as well. So it's always great to see you supporting your drivers. I think it's AKM Racing UK. Is that the father? I think it is of Lee. I think it is. I'm sure he'll correct me if I am wrong. Looking further back, Arish Mantus is trying to get on a recovery. He's not really making much of a progress here, trying to get onto the back end of Alexander Scaret in the BMW in front. It's good to see that we do have some of the Lamborghinis out on track. We did have another one. I've not seen her at the moment. Sophia Ridgepath had an excellent race out in Watkins Glen. Literally tore up the field in that Pro-Am class, but certainly doesn't seem to be having it her own way here at Road Atlanta. So must have been involved in an earlier incident. Currently P10th in that pro field. So still will be scoring some points, but probably not as many as she probably wanted to score out on track today. But still going around there in P34, down 21 positions where she started. So certainly a lot must have had some incidences earlier on in the race. As we missed some of the incidents at the start, let's see if I can find some of the earlier incidents. We got one here of Michael Cody. Let's have a look to see what happened to Michael coming down through the S's up to turn number 5. Is it that dreaded turn 5 out on track? Oh, looks like a little bit of a jostle behind. Not really seeing much of an incident there. This is, I think this is a formation lap, so I'm not sure where he crashed there, but that's our racing software that said he's had a crash, but it didn't really. But oh, we do have Michael Hooper is in the pits. Our top of the pile in the AMS, Tom Savage, is also coming into the pits as well. So I think there's only, it looks like our top drivers, Neil Eric Isaacson, Thomas Wangen's been in the pits. Oh, this is a change up for the Bucks. Neil Eric Isaacson has managed to get out in front of his teammate Thomas Wangen. So the pit stop time's 14.30 for Neil Eric Isaacson, 14.83 for Thomas Wangen at the moment. So the leads has been changed, as you can see there. Ketil Larsen now within the pits, but Niels, after having probably not the best race in his opening 2 by his own standards, is having a cracking race here and has managed to leapfrog his team as Thomas there just making sure that he actually gets through. Same with Daniel as well, trying to get through to keep on the tailcoats of the 2. But Daniel's managed to close that gap. It was up to around about 2 seconds, but has brought it down now to 1.2 seconds. So really trying to chase down these 2 IGL coaching teammates out in front. But it's going to be a tall order to try and overcome these 2 IGL coatings guys out in front. But if anybody can, Daniel can. We certainly saw that out in Watkins Glen. But a completely different kettle of fish. One that is in the daylight for the whole race. If you watched the stream last time, you would have seen half and half day, half night. But here is certainly a full day. And then also you got to contend with the fact of where the car's out on track. I mean, you can sort of see the track map now in the top right-hand corner. There's cars everywhere out on track. There's very limited free space anywhere on track with the current amount of drivers we do have. And the severe congestion now, you can sort of see there coming down the back straight with that big orange 1 on the front. The front runners are very much in the mix of the amateur field, so really got to be able to pick their markers to be able to get the passing moves done out on track. But currently Neil Eric Isaacson is leading out your race. Thomas Wangen in 2nd place, Daniel Sedgley in 3rd, Ketil Larsen in 4th in that pro division, with Scott Mokes in 5th and Michael Hooper taking up the 6th place. In the top of the Pro-Am field, we got Lee King McGee in 1st place. James Logston, again, still in that no man's land. You can see him there, 9 seconds. So he has managed to cut into some of that lead from Lee King McGee in 2nd place, but then has round about 14 seconds back to Sander Island, who is currently in 3rd place in that Pro-Am field. So very much a race on his own as James been in this race here at Road Atlanta. In P4th, we've got Alexander Scrett in the Pro-Am field. P5th, we've got Steve Pierce, who's having a good battle with Michael Goff of the AKM racing team. So these two having a really good ding-dong here for that 5th place overall in the Pro-Am field. Going down into the Am field, Tom Savage is romping this one home at the moment in the Am. It has a sizable gap over Gordon Haig, who is currently in P2. You see Tom there just going down the S's, and here is Gordon literally coming around that last corner. So you can see the size of the gap that Tom Savage currently has in Team Bear Pope Zero over Gordon Haig, Sim Racing Norway, who are our Season 1 team champions at the moment out on track. They are doing well in the team championships, are Sim Racing Norway, but Team Bear Pope, who done well last season, came 2nd, has really put the their staunch out this season by entering 2 teams, and I believe that I think it's Bear Pope Zero that are currently leading the team championship after the opening 2 rounds. But there's Gordon Haig there, second in the AM. In third place, we've got Simeon Modeklev, again of Sim Racing Norway. I think he was round about 3rd or 4th on the grid, if I remember rightly. So has not really lost a lot of positions. He is up 6 places from where he started overall on the grid. But I think in relative to the class, I think he's there or thereabouts to where he started the race. Stefan Anderson currently in P4 with Paul Ward from Reckless Abandon, our race winner from Watkins there. So another one that's struggling a little bit after the highs of Watkins Glen, currently in P5th. Looking back at the rookie class, Sam Curran of Team Bearpoke, currently in P1 in that rookie field in the Mercedes, doing exceptionally well. Currently ahead of Alan Sandergaard, who must have had an issue because he was leading out the rookie field. I'm just having a look at the pit stop timings. Oh, there's a big chunk of time. So Sam Curran from Team Bearpope done a 14.2 pit stop. Alan Sandergaard did a 25.93. So there's why there is a change of lead in that rookie field. So will that come back to Alan into the latter parts of the race? We currently only have around about 9 minutes left of the race to go, so certainly has to get a wriggle on at the moment if he wants to try and catch Sam Curran there for the win in the rookie class. You're probably talking the best part of nearly 10 seconds that he has to make up, so it's going to be a extreme tall order if he can get there. Back in third place, we've got Nicholas Gronstrom in the rookie class. Nice steady round for him. Still getting on the top half of that podium with Paul Joseph Clist, our season 1 rookie champion, currently down in 4th place. So struggling a little bit at the moment is Paul Joseph Clist in this season 2, but always the consistent driver, so he will be there or thereabouts in the points come at the end of the season. We just saw there flash up on the screen Thomas Wang in the fastest lap, a 1:18.22. Niels Erik Isaacson wasn't too shabby last round as well with a 1:18.28. So ran about 4/10 of a second faster that lap than Daniel Sedgley in 3rd place. So you can see there the gap now starting to extend between the 2 IGO coaching teams in front and Dan Sedgley in 3rd place to the tune of 3.2 seconds. Ketiel Larson 3 seconds behind that. So Daniel only has to look forward to try and get there, but I think with the time fastly running out, only 7 minutes left of this race to go, it's going to be very difficult for him to make that passing opportunity. Let's just have a look and see if we've got any battles out on track. Yes, we do. We got Sammy Hendricks just having a battle with Patrick Wild here for P8 overall in the amateur class here, so a good battle ensuing. We'll see if Sammy can make the pass in Patrick coming down here. He looks to the inside, does have that vital, doesn't manage to get his car along, may try that late break, but they're both in the Porsches, so the braking should be there, and Sammy managing to get late on the brakes there, but they're going to be side by side coming through 10B, and it's literally a drag race coming up, but I think Sammy's managed to get in front just there over Patrick, so Sammy moves up 1 place to P7th in that rookie class, but I'm pretty sure that Patrick will be trying to come back at him, but then we have a back marker there. I think that is Michael Hooper there that's now got in between the battle that was ensuing between Sammy and Patrick for P7 of 8th overall in class. Looking further back in P9, a new driver to the field, Arte Rudd of Team Vikings, very striking livery on that BMW, is currently in P9th in the amateur class. Does have Kim Andre Borkland, who was at one stage winning the Pro-Am fields, and sort of how the mighty have fallen. Currently 8th in class is Kim Andre Borkland, but we did see that massive incident in the background coming up through turn number 5, and that's all it takes is that one slight incident where you have to go back to the pits to use your fast repair. The guys do have 2 fast repairs, but the time it takes to get back to pits and back out is proving that it's almost like a killer in these sort of races. So Kim Andre Portland currently in P8 in that Pro-Am field, as he's having a little bit of a battle between, I'd say, Rudd here for that P27th overall on class. So we're coming into very much the closing stages, the last 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes of this race. Kingy, yes, and I'm the dad and the boss. Just saying to AKM Racing UK. Okay, boss. The dad of Lee King McGee, there we go. He's doing exceptionally well at the moment. He is still leading at that pro field. You can see there James Logston just behind, 12 seconds behind. So with only 4 minutes left, so around about 3 laps maximum to go around this track. It looks like Lee King McGee does have this third race sewn up, barring any incident. So I'll touch wood, and hopefully I haven't commentator cast him. But having an exceptional race here is Lee King McGee out on track for the AKM Racing UK team. A big shout out again to you guys in the YouTube world. Thanks for sticking with us with our earlier technical issues, and hopefully it hasn't been too bad, and obviously losing Tom in the meanwhile, so only having to listen to my dulcet tones for an hour, probably an hour, because I think we joined the race after about 12 minutes, so can only but apologise for that. But thanks for joining us, and please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, think about subscribing, clicking that bell for every time we go live, and give us that thumbs up if you've enjoyed most of the broadcast. Obviously not the start. We'll just ignore the start of that. But looking back to the front of this race then, and Neil, this is against the form books really for me. Neil Erik Isaacson's currently leading out this race. His teammate Thomas Wangen, 0.7 of a second behind, won the first race, came second in Watkins Glen, is now looking at a second here in the Pro. But this will be Neil Erik Isaacson's first win here in the Pro field after extremely strong qualifying sessions. I mean, we saw in Watkins and we saw in Montreal that the IGL Coatings team have an exceptional ability to lock out the top half of the grid, and they did here again today. Niels was second on the grid, and Thomas was in first place, but Niels was normally in the race falls back, and we got had an interview with him as well, and he was even saying that, you know, he's naturally a lot less or not as quick as say Thomas and the rest of the team. So it's interesting to see now that Niels has taken on a little bit of the advice and is doing exceptionally well, and is very much looking at a race win. And I think probably team orders will come into it at some point, certainly on the last lap, and it does look like Thomas has probably conceded that Niels is going to take the race win here at Road Atlanta. We got Daniel Segley is essentially who's done exceptionally well as well. Still a podium P3 after his win out in Watkins Glen. Currently second in the championship is Daniel, so it's going to be interesting to see where he lies. I mean, obviously, like I said, we will have the drop scores after this round. So he has had, I think it's a fourth, a third, and a first. So obviously, Thomas Wangen has had the same. So I'd imagine that himself, Thomas and Niels will all be on the same points coming into race number 4, but do have them difference in scores of drop rounds, which come all the more important later on in the race. But Lee King McGee there, like I said, rounding out the top of the Pro-Ams. Tom Savage, top of the AMs at the moment, still doing an exceptional job for Team Bear Pope 0. And then we got Sam Curran, again of Team Bear Pope, heading out the field in the rookie class. So coming to the end of the race, and I believe this probably is the last lap here. Neil Erik Isaacson is coming home with his teammates. You can see there, these two have been a class apart from the rest of the field. Daniel managed to stay with him for the majority of the race, but I think the tyres on that BMW from the Olympus Esports Redstone team may have gone, but certainly have done well here. Neil-Erik Eisen comes around the last corner to take the flag here in round number 3, and it's a great win for Neil-Erik Eisen. Thomas Wang and his teammate there in second place overall, and Daniel Sedgley in third. Ketiel Larson in fourth, the IGL Coatings Iracing by Kenzo team there. So the top 3 out of the top 4 are from that IGL Coatings stall, and a great win for them guys. Scott Mokes managed to come at home in 5th, and I think 6th is probably Michael's best place, if I'm not mistaken, in that Pro Field. But we're obviously just looking back at Lee King McGee to see when he comes over, and there we see him just as he's coming across the line, taking that Pro-Am field win. James Logston coming around, very much a quiet race for James in here out in Road Atlanta, pretty much in no man's land, but takes on some valuable points, and will probably still keep his, well, he would definitely keep his lead at the top of the field, but having a second is not too bad, should I say. And then we see Tom Savage as well coming home to take home that amateur win, and we can already see that the rookie field, Sam Curran, has indeed taken that first place in the rookies, and Alan Sandergaard in second place overall. So overall a great race there. Neil-Erik Eisen and Thomas Wangen has certainly gave a lot in that race, and Daniel tried his best to keep up with them, but just couldn't keep the pace with the rest of the field. Lee King McGee, obviously a cracking race. You can see there, 14 seconds ahead of James Logston. And then you got Sam Curran. I think Alan probably made a slight mistake in that pit stops to take probably a few more tyres than he should have, which gave Sam the opportunity to win there. So let's have a look to see if I can bring up the results. And here we have it. So winner for race number 3 here for the Performance Inc. GT3 Cup of Season 2 is Neil-Erik Isaacson. Thomas Wangen in second place, Daniel Sedgley in third, Ketiel Larson in fourth, Scott Mokes in fifth, Michael Hooper in sixth, Lee King McGee in seventh, James Logston in eighth, Matt Gentrenbacken in ninth, Tom Savage in 10th, Alexander Square in 11th, Sander Island in 12th, and Arius Mantis in 13th. Michael Goh in 14th, Steve Pierce in 15th, Simeon Moldeklev in 16th, Gordon Haig in 17th, and Stefan Anderson in 18th. See if it's going to work for me today. Hey, there we go. In 19th, we got Paul Ward. In 20th, Russ Fowler. At least something's gone right for me today. In 21st, we got Sam Curran. 22nd, Alan Sondergaard. In 23rd, we got Jimmy Vark. 24th, Sammy Hendricks. 25th, Kim Andre Borkland. In 26th, our newcomer to the championship, RT Rudd. In 27th, Champon Asavon, who's must have had a big incident there because was running in the top half of the AM field. Lance Sorensen in 28th overall. 29th, we got Patrick Wild. 30th, we got Nicholas Gronstrom. Sophia Ridpath in 31st. In 32nd, Paul Joseph Kliss. Michael Cody in 33rd. Ian Henneby in 34th. David Gill in 35th. And Casper Tungsten in 36th. Torben Mahal in 37th, but I believe he doesn't score points, and Stefan Fonzi out early on in this race. So that was the results overall, and well, it was an interesting race. Let's have a look, see if we have any drivers standing by for a chat. Let's have a look. Who have we got? I'm sure we've got a few of the drivers. And let's have a chat to our first place overall, Neil-Erik Isaacson. Niels, welcome to the commentary box, mate. A cracking race for you. We didn't actually quite get the start. We had a few technical difficulties, but it's got to be nice to be on the top half of the grid now.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a good race. I managed to save a bit of fuel and tires, and then I managed to take them in the pits, so that was very good.
Yeah, just explain that, because obviously you were a little behind Thomas coming into that pit stop. Looking at your pit timings, they were very similar. How did you manage to get it? Did you just go closer to the yellow cones than what Thomas did?
I don't know. I haven't investigated, but yeah, something like that. I think. I had a very good in lap. I think Thomas had a bad in lap or something. Yeah.
So obviously you've changed cars from the Audi over to the BMW, and it certainly seems to have paid off from yourself, because I think the opening 2 races you did really well in the qualifying, but sort of started to drop a little bit further back as the race progressed on. Have you found now changing the car to the BMW more suits your driving style? And it certainly seems from the result tonight that it's really helped you out.
Yeah, well, the Audi is as fast or even faster on lap, but you cannot drive like that the whole race. At least I can't. So the BMW is much more safer, and also you have some more flexibility when it comes to setup. Yeah, it's a good car, the BMW.
Well, it certainly seems to be for that IGL coatings. I mean, you absolutely romped home both yourself and Thomas. Daniel was obviously hot on your heels again, trying to mix it up with you two guys. But what happened in that last quarter of the races? Because you sort of almost turned on the afterburners, both of you, and started putting in low 118 laps. How did you manage to do that?
Low 18s, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Low on fuel. And we also changed the tires on the left side. So you could really put the hammer down in the right corners. And I think also there was some trouble with the backmarkers for Daniel, I think.
Yeah, well, I think there probably was there. I mean, that was one of these tricky tracks, isn't it? With obviously having drivers in, but then having the back markers that pay a lot of issues when it comes to making overtaking moves on these tracks. And how did you find getting past the back markers? How do you find getting through the back markers?
Generally it was very good, but when it's this close, like seconds and tenths, that's the matter, then it's very difficult. So sometimes I lost, sometimes Thomas lost, sometimes Daniel lost. So yeah, I know it's not easy to be letting people go past either. So I have understanding for that.
Definitely
it's difficult here.
So it certainly sounds like it as well, mate. But a great win here today at Road Atlanta, and a great kickstart again for your championship hopefuls. Certainly from a team point of view, you're sorting to romp away. But before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to have a shout out to?
Yeah, of course. To you guys, Performance Link series. I think it's my first time here. I think it's very fun. And also to our sponsors, of course. You get Coatings, Elverdi, and Samtrafikskole. And also we have trained very well this week, so all of my teammates.
Definitely as well. Congratulations on your race win, and good luck out on our 2-hour endurance at Road America in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you.
Cheers, Neil. So there was Neil Iracing, our race winner there for race number 3 overall in the Pro. But let's get Lee King McGee in. Lee, welcome to the booth, mate. A cracking win in that Pro Anfield. You must have been putting a lot of practice in. You there, Lee? Oh, it looks like we possibly don't have Lee at the moment. Is it when I bring somebody into the box, guys, that you're getting the echo? Are you getting the echo now? Or is it okay? I think it may be that I'm bringing people into the box, but I'll try someone else. Yeah, we are obviously with the technical issues that we did have. So yeah, that maybe I'll try and pull one more in and see if we're getting some echoes. If we are, then we'll call that interview and probably put pay to an extremely bad day on the out on track. But we're bringing Tom. Tom, welcome to the box. Are you there, mate?
I think so.
Well, I'm not sure what if we're going to get Savage Echoes on YouTube, but we'll try. How was that race for you, mate? You seem to do it to perfection, really, in that class.
I mean, I think you know, getting on pole was the key, and then Simon had the incident on that one or early on, and to be honest, I kind of just owned it from there.
I mean, this track is a very technical track, is Road Atlanta. It's very tight and twisty. You've really got to know how to manage. How much harder was it being made for having like the pro drivers coming up behind you to try and pass you, and obviously you trying to make passing moves on drivers in front of you? I bet you must have have to have eyes in the back of your head in this sort of race.
It wasn't too bad to be honest. I mean, I caught up to the back of the Pro-Ams. I don't know if they had incidents or whether it was pace or what, but got past them mostly all right. There was Chalampon behind me at the start in class, and I had to break the draft on one of the Pro-Am drivers, which was pretty tough, but you know, it went well. You know, I was driving under the limit because I mean, with me, I have a bit of a reputation on the Verpo team as killing myself quite often. So it was a mental battle with myself really to keep it on track.
Yeah, definitely was. But I mean, it was a great win for you, and that's another race winner that we've had in your class. I mean, it's a very hotly contested class. I think they pretty much all are at the moment. You're all still trying to find your feet and trying to, but you're currently the leader in your class. I mean, it's got to be a good feeling to know that you've started off the championship in a really good way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every race has been, other than the first two races have been hotly contested with Simeon. So you know, there's a long way to go. I think somehow he managed to finish P2 in this racing class, so that's an amazing result for him. So still all up for play for.
It does look like we are having some sound issues again, and it just looks like you're echoing, Tom. But we'll leave it there, mate. But congratulations on your race win, and yeah, pretty much blew that Anfield apart, mate. So congratulations on that win.
Yeah, thanks very much. One last thing, you know, it's Mother's Day, so this one was for my mum.
Oh, bless you. It is, and got to be thankful for the drivers as well to be able to come out and drive on. We've had a great field here, although the sound qualities and everything, and I can only apologise profusely for that we will get rectified for the next race. I don't know what's quite happened with our sound this week, because I think we had it on the podcast as well earlier on, but we won't bring any more and subject your ears to Savage Echo anymore. But big congratulations to Lee King McGee, obviously in that Pro-Am field, did a cracking job managing to pull out a race win, which closes the gap slightly on James Logston in second base, but probably only to the tune of 1 point due to the point structure we do have. So it's going to be great. Obviously, we just spoke to Niels Eric Isaacson and also to Tom Savage in the AM. A big congratulations to Sam Curran as well, our rookie winner for the day there. But yeah, just been plagued with issues on this stream, so big thank you to you guys for sticking around and sticking with it through our slight technical issues. I mean, obviously the racing that we do have is second to none, and having them 4 classes out on track has made all the difference, I think, to the entertainment value. You know, you're not just got the 3 classes, you got 4 different classes to look at, and with the numbers around about 13 in each class, it makes it for some real excellent racing. But I'd just like to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Performance Link, Green Future Technologies, Simography, and STK Gaming and Extreme Scoring, for giving us the platform to be able able to put on these leagues out there. Unfortunately, we can't, Simeon, because it looks like there's some issues with the sound. So if I pull you in, you probably get echoes to every other driver or every other listener on YouTube. So I can only apologise for that. You can come on the podcast and have your say on there, Simeon. How's that? But, you know, after what has been plagued by issues, that is pretty much it for here at Road Atlanta. We've got a little bit of a break next week as it's Sebring, but we're back in 2 weeks' time for Road America. It's our first of our 2-hour endurance specials in the season. We've got 3 of them to look forward to. So the drivers have got to think a little bit more about how they're going to attack that race, because it's an extra 50 minutes in the races that they've been racing so far in this season. So the pit stops are going to be more critical. How many do you take of them? 1, or to try push it to 1, or are you going to try and do 2? You know, there's going to be so many different permutations that the drivers that they can do out on track to be able to make sure that they get the season in place. But it's going to be an interesting, and just adds that on. Then after a couple of weeks after that, we do have our mid-season endurance special, and that's going to be something a little bit special, a little bit different, but more will come out of that in the future. But I've been Andy Thompson. I did have Tom for a very short amount of time with me, but then obviously it must be the audio issues, which is why he had the echo as well. But you know, all I can do is just profusely apologise for all the technical issues we've had here. We have seen the majority of a great race, and hopefully we can get everything sorted out for Road America in 2 weeks' time at the same time for our first of our 2-hour specials. But from myself, from the team in the Performance Link, and from the drivers, and from you guys in the chat, you know, I bid you farewell and look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time in Road America. Good night.